turning off his camera, and then he ran all the way back over here just
What?
in
I'm
time
not out of
for the
breath.
stream
What?
to go live.
Shut up.
He made it though, and so
Hi,
now
everyone.
he's insufferably smug. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good. Really?
What?
Are you gonna do a little dance?
Yeah.
Are you done now?
No.
No. Your next step, insinuating your way into pseudopod. Well, we'll come back to that, Jordan. Hold your horses. We have so much stuff to announce tonight. It's kind of amazing. I know.
It has been a busy week, John.
It has been a busy week, John. I know, right? Of course we already have shirts. Aren't they lovely? In fact, I have like a whole little demo thing all arranged for after we introduce our guests. So I can show you all of the shirts live on the stream so we don't have to... Yes! I'm that awesome now. I figured all that shit out. It has been a week. Yes, that's exactly right. Now I was going to make you introduce things, but then you took a sip of water, so now I'm going to vamp for a couple of
Folks,
seconds.
welcome to the show. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen across the next couple of hours. We do three things in
because
order.
he's prescient.
Most of the time. This might not be one of those weeks.
We'll
we will talk to you a little bit about what's going on in our week. Then we will throw to our amazing guest, the incredible Jordan Shiveley, who is kind of a horror triple threat. Jordan does very nearly everything. And does all of it extremely
I wonder what that feels
well.
Like, right? We have so much to talk to Jordan about. It's going to be amazing.
We will talk to Jordan, and that will be fantastic because he's the best.
He is the best.
Then we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back and we will play a game.
We will play a game and talk about more games and talk about more things. There are so many things this week. So shall we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Why don't you introduce Jordan?
Jordan is one of those people who just makes the industries they're in better, just by being there. You may well know Jordan as Dread Singles, which is one of the first Twitter accounts I encountered that does that incredible thing that Twitter can do when it's not being a fucking cesspit of finding new ways to tell stories.
No, it's not Find the Teeth, Jordan. I'm sorry.
It is now.
What? Great. Okay, fine. We're off on a rollicking.
Going well.
We're on a rollicking start already. Exactly.
Jordan is a writer, a graphic designer, a game designer, and a podcast host, amongst
and
many.
A podcast audio drama writer.
And a podcast audio drama writer.
They have 4 episodes on Old Gods, a 4-part series.
You know what? I think we should ask.
Let's ask him. Shall we ask him? Looks up from a mouthful of God's heart. What's this now? I told you to get snacks in advance. Okay. Hold on. I gotta push the right button. And then I have to make sure you can hear him.
Hello, Jordan. How are you?
Hi, Jordan. How are you?
Hi.
We are speaking to you now for the first time today.
With our voices. Exactly.
Yeah. There has never been a conversation before this.
No.
We have always lived in the EA podcast stream.
I was actually just thinking that. I'm like, have we actually met in person?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, no.
What is Meat Space? Who does Meat Space anymore, right?
I've only been to like one in-person like sci-fi fantasy convention, and it's in Minneapolis. So I don't think you all were at that.
I have never been to Minneapolis. I would have remembered.
I have only in an airport transfer, but I will be in the future, so...
It's a cool city. If y'all ever in town, you got to hang out. We have a daybed.
My company...
We're looking to save some money.
...is headquartered there now, so that might...
What is?
The company I work for is headquartered there, so...
Oh, heck yeah. You got to like come visit on the company dime.
Right?
Yes.
It's even the greatest. That sounds even better. Fixing says this unholy union never. Well, we're just getting started. Exactly.
So, Jordan, what is horror?
Nice softball to start us off with.
Well, Webster's dictionary defines horror.
Thank you.
I mean, we can have that conversation if you want to. It's something I've been mulling around a lot, but that's a very contentious.
Well, how did you get into horror? How about that? Why is it your...
I accidentally got into horror. Like, I was raised in a very conservative Christian household. And so I saw some horror in my childhood, but it was like snuck here and there and just little bits. So I was never a horror fan growing up. And then I went to lots of Christian Bible schools and stuff. So that was also not a place that really engendered a lot of horror fanness. Even though now looking back, it definitely feeds a lot of good symbology into my writing and stuff. But I got into horror by writing the Dread Singles Twitter account. And I didn't think I was writing horror. I just thought I was just being weird and writing weird stuff. But everyone else thought it was scary and horror. So I've kind of come into it sideways. But over the last several years, I have taken very much given myself a crash course in horror by reading just a lot of books and watching a lot of horror.
Nice.
And I think it's about the loss of power. Is what I think horror is a lot of times.
That is one of the best definitions I've heard.
The loss of power?
Yeah.
Because you maintain that it's ultimately a hopeful genre because it's about what you encounter and what you survive and what becomes of you, but ultimately that you persevere or you come out the other end of it. You may not be the same.
I mean, it's such a wide-ranging thing, right? Covering so much. But to me, the parts that are actually scary is loss of power, loss of agency.
Yeah.
And the parts I really enjoy is the dialoguing with taboo. You know, like things that we see as our society has puritanically made into the evil. What happens when we allow that to be the thing that we are full of, like devouring or being devoured, or striking back at the things that are coming at you, you know, like the revenge plots of like Final Girls and stuff. Like it's all like horror in like shocking, but the shocking part is that our society is seeing a woman take her own agency into her hands and say, fuck you, I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
You know,
and
that's supposedly what was the shocking taboo part when it first came out. But that is something that then can be embraced as an empowering part of the narrative and be focused upon instead of being an ancillary part of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me that the two films which my brain instantly jumps to for that are Cabin in the Woods, which is a really good example of the banality of atrocity. You know, there's no scene in that which is more disturbing than the cocktail party, whilst the final girl is having her final girl experience.
Yeah, exactly.
On the TV screens. And there is an indescribably horrible French movie called Martyrs, which is ultimately all about the conspiracy to manufacture a saint.
George's like, wait,
you said manufacture a saint. I now have to write this down and watch.
It involves the single most horrifying thing I have ever seen done to a human body.
Ooh.
And it goes very...
Count me in.
It goes very Clive Barker-y in the idea of when you come out the other side of pain, there is vast enlightenment, that kind of thing. And
I'm not a huge Clive Barker fan.
Me neither.
Caveat it with, I love the movies that have been done from translations of his work, but I am not a fan of his prose.
I had a long, very fruitful conversation. Was it that?
I'm open to being shown I'm wrong, and I've been told the short stories are more what I would enjoy. But I read like the Crimson Hymns, the Scarlet Gospel, and I was just like, to me, for my taste, and this is purely subjective, it was very kind of like mean-spirited horror.
The two bits of Barker I was always very fond of were In the Hills, the Cities might be a perfect short
That's
story.
the one everyone keeps telling me.
So fucking
like at least 5 people every time I say I don't like Barker, my friends are like, read In the Hills, the Cities.
Yeah.
Because they think I will like it.
In the early 1990s, there was in one of those moments where whoever is in charge of Marvel briefly lost consciousness. They commissioned a fully painted adaptation of some of the Books of Blood, and John Bolton drawing In the Hills, the Cities haunted my nightmares for about 2 years. Oh yeah,
that's amazing. I always think of Barker as like a frustrated painter. You know, a frustrated painter who wishes he was a painter but had to write to pay the bills.
No, I get that energy.
Because in all his books, he's always like, the picture of him is like with a big painting, and he's like, no, I'm a painter. I guess you can read my books, but also I wish I was a painter more.
Look at my paint splattered vest and my awesome arms.
Yes.
And I recognize like his importance in like as far as queer literature too.
Oh god,
yeah. And my dislike of his horror is not a dislike of the importance of him being in the queer lit, saying we don't have to be a certain way, we can be nasty and rough, and that is a valid thing for a queer man to write about. You know,
I'm really glad you mentioned how fond you are of the movie adaptations of Barker, because
like the first 2 Hellraisers are great.
You see, I cling on for dear life through to 4, because the visual gag at the end.
Oh no.
The visual gag at the end of 4 makes me ridiculously happy. The space lament configuration.
I've never made it through all of the other sequels. Like I
It's
usually
'cause it
tap
involved
out
the
around
word
some part where
space,
like
didn't it?
two
Yes,
people are like
exactly.
vomiting into each other's mouths or something. I'm always like, oh no, I'm good.
Yeah, thank you, goodbye.
Thank you, goodbye. There's no plot. This is just like visual splatter gore art piece. But I am interested in the new one.
But the things that
Yes,
we'll come on to that. But the things that get me about the movie adaptations are like the mundane expressions of bodily pain that stick with me. Like, I'm sorry, all I have to say is that nail, and everybody immediately goes, "Oh!" I mean, that's what sticks with me from that first Hellraiser movie, is that fucking nail.
What sticks with me is like the body rebuilding itself out of blood, which is like amazing. Such good practical effects in the first 2 movies. I also fucking love the Leviathan plinth in like the hellscape. That's like, I use it all the time as like a gif because it's just so good.
The other one I was always really fond of was the movie version of Lord of Illusions. Because
Really?
So good.
Right?
So good. I love Lord of Illusions.
That's what got me. I just
I love that when I was watching that. I'm like, this is a Mage the Ascension campaign that like somebody like just turned into a movie.
I wouldn't be surprised. Not at all.
I just really like the gag about 20 minutes in where someone goes, so you're Catholic? Yeah. And Baptist? Yeah. And Buddhist? Yeah. And Hindu? Mm-hmm. And Mooney? Yeah. Why? And just Scott. Go ahead.
You have like a story about a weird cult, and I'm in. You know, like
right? And just
cult that's actually for something real, not like the get you. It's like the real horror is man. I'm like, no, fuck you. That's the news. If you're gonna have a weird, creepy cult story, there needs to be an actual creepy god or entity or something at the end. Like,
well, especially
don't give me that. I could watch the news if I want to watch like the horror of humanity. I'm watching this to get something that's not the news.
True crime is horror for people who don't want horror, right? It is every bit as horrific. It's just...
I mean, true crime is just looking into like the gaping horror of being a human, you know? and like horror, I think, is best when it takes that and turns it into something transformative instead of just wallowing in the pit of it.
Absolutely.
Then that's why you think it's hopeful.
That's why I think.
And that transformative thing doesn't have to be happy or triumphant.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be like seeing it through another lens or identifying with the evil so that you can then understand the evil more. I'm not saying like, I kind of hate happy endings unless they're really, really deserved, you know. I like the bleak endings. My favorite ending to a TV show ever is season 1 of the Terror. Like, that is the best ending ever.
Have I seen The Terror?
The Terror is based on the Dan Simmons novel about the Erebus and the Terror, the 2 Royal Naval vessels that attempted to open the North Passage, and it didn't go well.
Oh wait, I know about this because I know
didn't go well at all.
I know people.
My partner's favorite genre of literature is men with their hubris getting what they deserve. So she loves anytime like that kind of stuff happens.
Genre.
The comeuppance of male hubris.
Literally any chapter or episode of that story could be subtitled "Mistakes Were Made."
Mm-hmm.
Does it involve my?
But I think it does a great job of like throughout the whole thing. It just satisfied everything I wanted out of a creepy TV show.
It's just been described in the chat as sleep crimes. I see so much fan art of it, so I really ought to get around to it.
I didn't watch the second season because it's all about like Asian mythology, and a lot of people were like talking about how it wasn't written by anyone who was Asian. Yeah. So I kind of skipped that one. But the first season, because like each one's a totally different story. So like
kind of like American Horror Story, or
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just really surprised that they did a second season at all, because like the Terror's over. Like that's the name of the novel, so I didn't think they were just going to keep expanding on it.
But you know, things
it's probably
like
a cash grab because it was so popular.
Well, yeah, anthology style shows. I mean, we've been doing them in fiction forever, but now all of a sudden, visual media are starting to realize.
Well, it's amazing now that people are finally have invented the genre of the narrative podcasts.
I know, man.
That just came out last year, and it's so good that it's finally happened.
I love that he's trolling us. I absolutely love this. Reset the clock!
I get so pissed every time I see that. I'm like,
yeah, podcasts were invented in 2014.
My eye twitches.
Don't you know, Jordan?
Yeah.
2014. Oh my god.
I thought podcasts came out in 2019.
You know,
only the pandemic has the only reason there's ever been like a narrative podcast.
why on
before.
earth would you talk into a microphone and read a story and share it with people? They're like, what? What
Poor
is
pseudo
that?
Scott. Just sigh.
Oh my god.
My all-time
Oh my
favorite
God.
subdivision of that was the point where I think it was Q-Code who started doing all of that. Here is an actually halfway decent genre fiction show with a single, pretty fucking famous cast member in it. And for the first 2 years they did that, their tagline was, "This isn't podcasting." And every time it came up, often in the street, I would go, "Yes, it is!" out loud.
Yep.
And
Sure is.
you know.
But you
Podcast just means radio now, guys. Like, that's all it means.
But this does Tessa Thompson. That means it's a podcast with Tessa Thompson in it. It
That
doesn't
means
mean it's a new and exciting wheel.
That
My
means
God.
you got a budget and we didn't, and we hate you. That's all
Podcasts
that
are
means.
real? Big if true.
I have a very common...
You have to put that on the t-shirt.
Huge if
okay?
true.
Huge if true has to happen.
All you have to do is we can make as many shirts as you want,
Oh
man.
my god, I have a list. I have
Drunk
a
with the
whole
power.
frickin'
Anytime you have like a little snarky thing, we can throw it on a shirt really
Okay,
quick.
we have an open DM thread. This is gonna go well. This is
Yeah.
gonna go very, very well.
I
freaking love it.
have a very complex relationship with the upcoming Ghostbusters movie because at some point during that fucking film, we're going to see a CGI version of Egon Spengler, and I will be emotionally
We are, aren't we?
compromised.
Oh yeah.
And it is made even more complex by the revelation in recent weeks that one of the main characters is a kid called Podcast.
Fuck you.
And
That's like his nickname?
it's apparently his,
Well, yeah, I had a friend.
Or is it's his given name and his parents are like new millennial hippies?
Podcast McKinnon. You
This
come in here and
literally
finish your job
happened
at
to
the
me
outlet.
yesterday. I got a DM from someone who's saying, "Help me! I just met an adorable baby named Kylo."
Like, that's the actual name?
That's the actual legal name.
Whoa. I mean, I guess like Nick Cage named his kid Kal-El, poor fucking
What?
kid.
Well,
Yeah, well, his
okay,
son's name is
okay.
Kal-El.
Grain of salt the size of a boulder. It's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
right?
mean, he can go. He can never go any way. Like, once a man gets rid of his sideburns for that long, like, it's just you can't. You don't know what he's gonna do.
It has
He's
just this
unpredictable.
second occurred to me that there's a non-zero possibility. We live in the timeline where at some point in the next few years, in the middle of an interview, Nick Cage will pull his Mission Impossible mask off, and Andy Kaufman will reveal the greatest structural joke in human
Oh
history.
my god, could you imagine?
That would be great. I would trade him. Yeah, I would trade him.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't. You're going to name your next cat Podcat. Oh god. Well, remind me.
Podcat. That's actually great.
Podcat is good.
Because then if you have a cat basket, it can be your podcatcher.
Oh, kid's name Khaleesi? No.
Oh god.
There's a lot of baggage with that name, people.
Yeah.
Mom, what's the character about that I was named after? Well, she got raped a lot.
And saved all
And
people
then
of
she
color.
made slaves after being a slave. So like we just really thought that's something we wanted you to live up to.
Right. I mean, respect. I get that people want to honor their favorite stories and properties and things like that. It's just, it's a heck of a burden. As someone who was named after both grandmothers, trust me, it's like, really, don't put all that baggage in one basket.
I mean, my spouse was named after Lady Jessica Atreides, and her last name is Underhill. So she had like nerd names all around.
Wow.
That's very impressive.
The biggest trick I missed though was that when I changed my name, I should have picked like a really awesome middle name, like Danger or something, so that you could literally say Danger is my middle name. But I forgot.
Like Hammer of Witches.
Yeah, Jessica says that if they ever change their name, it's going to be Richard Hardbody.
I dig it.
A friend of mine likes to hold forth at great length about the fact that there really was a U.S. Marine called Master Sergeant Rex Fightmaster.
Wow.
Sweet.
And yes, somewhere in Northern Ireland, Jerry is giggling and still has no idea why. So, horror.
Oh, actually, I want to talk about
Horror.
t-shirts.
T-shirts. Let's talk about
All
All
t-shirts.
right, t-shirts.
Okay.
So one of the things we put in the intro is quite justifiably that, kind of like us, you never saw a project you didn't, a windmill you didn't tilt at. And you have, like what Alasdair has, what I would call a portfolio career, in that it's just this eldritch, amalgamation of a million different things. How was that?
Each one suffering because of all the other ones that are also taking up bandwidth.
Hey,
right?
Shut up.
Exactly. But
none of them quite reaching the pinnacle of that area.
I'm laughing because it's the best choice.
Well, who decided that being horizontal had to be the goal? Why can't we just be vertical? I'm just going to cover everything, and that's really important. It works for, slime molds. Why can't it work
birds.
for us?
Works for birds.
It does not work for birds.
Shut up, it works for birds. Jordan, keep talking. We're doing fine.
Okay, I'm doing fine. I'm
doing birds. We're talking about birds.
I'm trying to ask a question. But T-shirts somehow became one of those things that stuck for you. And you have some background in design, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
So walk us through that. Because I know the example that certainly got his attention, but was did you just have a design that went viral? Is it a hobby that just kind of blew all out of proportion? Because now you were like the go-to merch designer for genre now.
I hope so. That's kind of one of my next goals, is to become that. Because so it all started I worked in design because I was an associate publisher for a comics publishing company for a decade. So I did a lot of design work on book covers and layout. So I got very familiar with the stuff. And before that, in my early 20s, I wanted to be a cartoonist. So I drew lots of comics and I lettered posters and lettered comics and stuff. So I had the previous lifetime of being a cartoonist. And I always thought oh, that's a good idea. That would be a cool t-shirt. I just had a bunch in my head forever. And then I was doing the Dread Singles tweets. And this was before, it was still just hot singles in your area. Mostly there wasn't a lot of Jordan Shiveley there. And someone said I would buy that tweet on a t-shirt. And I was like, haha, that's silly. But I put some on and it was a little bit at a time. But then the people from Critical Role started wearing them on their show. And I didn't know them at the time, but I just suddenly was getting huge amounts of one shirt being bought, And so that Critical Role is basically why it became a rent payable job.
Nice.
Because for about a year they wore a lot of them, which is without me talking to them or anything, which is really nice of them. So their fans buy a lot of merch. And then I just kind of expand. When I saw that it was making money, I made 500 shirts in a year. Just every idea that came into my head, I would make it into a shirt so that it would look like a brand that had back catalog and stuff. And now there's almost maybe too many shirts on there, for people to get lost and they get buyer's paralysis, I guess. But that's how it started.
And then you started doing collaborations, we're going to talk about
the collaboration is because I know that eventually everyone who wants a Leave Them at the Bottom of the Grave shirt will have gotten one. So I'm trying to expand the collaborations. And from a business model, it's the idea that I'm giving a service to people who don't have the time or the design skills to do shirts based around their IPs. And they get the majority of the income and I get a percentage drip. And so I'm reaching fan bases that aren't my fan base with drip revenue streams from each one.
I was really happy to see you work with the Luminous Dead just recently.
Yeah, I'm doing a whole series for Caitlin Starling. Yeah.
Which is cool.
There's going to be some Jane Lawrence t-shirts probably next, but we just started out with the Luminous Dead. Yeah.
Do you want to tell the chat what the Luminous Dead is for folks who don't know?
Oh, the Luminous Dead is an amazing, really cool sci-fi caving horror novel from Caitlin Starling that everybody should read. It's really good. Her other books that are also really good are The Death of Jane Lawrence and Yellow Jessamine is really good from Neon Hemlock, who is a publisher that if you haven't looked into, you should definitely look into Neon Hemlock. They are a great queer, focusing on horror, but not only horror publishing house.
Literally 2 of their latest 4 just dropped in my inbox yesterday.
The new Premium Muhammad.
Yeah.
The new Premium Muhammad and the new...
Yeah, and I just started reading the Wendy Wagner one last night.
Excellent.
Nice. Yeah. The other 2.
I finished reading Rooksfield last night too, which was really good.
Neon Hemlock is really good work.
And they're also taking kind of a a very tailored approach. The idea that they have like an annual season's worth of stuff, which, you know.
Yeah, and in each book, each novella comes with a candle that the scent is
But
built
not
around
if you're outside the UK.
theme of the book.
They only ship to the US. So if you were
Aw,
outside the
that
US, you
sucks.
couldn't get a candle. I was very unhappy.
If you ever want to pay the extra shipping, you could always have it shipped to me, and then I could ship it to you.
Thank you, Jordan.
If you don't mind paying double shipping.
We'll have to figure something out.
Plotting.
Whenever I go to the US, it's always like I bring an empty suitcase with me because it's filled with stuff with it. I spent how many hours yesterday trying to buy freaking candy corn in this country because it's almost Halloween and I couldn't find any of it. Went to 3 different American candy stores.
Neon Hemlock, I think, is one of the only publishers that is really thinking about merch as tied into their books. Like other publishers do pre-order things, but it's like a pin, and it's not things that you can buy all the time, which I think is leaving money on the table, in my opinion. Which I guess is good for the authors. If the publishers don't take those rights, then they are free to make extra money on their own. Yeah. But a lot of authors don't because they're intimidated, which is why I'm trying to do these collaborations for authors where I handle the business side and they just open up a new revenue drip stream that they don't have to think about.
Okay, so let me know when you have the candle store set up. And we'll
I would never be doing a candle store. That seems like a lot of work. And they actually make them themselves, too.
Seriously?
Yeah, his husband is like a candle maker guy. They have like an apothecary store thing.
That's just way too much work. I'm sorry. I don't have the counter space or something like that.
Oh, yeah, me neither. That's why I think Dave doesn't either. It's all his husband doing it.
That's brilliant.
Your point about merchandise being kind of to go businessy for a moment, being a long tail kind of retail income generator for authors is a really interesting one because there's a very odd example of that that's just hit. The Kieran Gillen, I think Stephanie Hand's comic Die, which Image publishes, has just come into land, and it's a really, really good title. It's basically the most terrifying riff on the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon you can imagine.
Hush, Wendy.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes. A group of kids play D&D, are sucked into that world, and emerge 3 years later, one of them minus a hand, and not all of them come back. And it's what happens 20 years later when bloodstained dice are sent to them.
So it's like the D&D version of like The Magicians,
Exactly.
like Lev Grossman, like a very like dark take on like a classic fantasy trope.
Exactly. But one of the things, because of how Kieran's brain works, one of the things he did basically as they were prepping the book was he wrote the RPG they play.
Of course he did.
And he continued writing the RPG they play as the book came out. And there's a very, very good tabletop RPG publisher over here called Rowan Rook and Deckard, who just won, I think, 8 Ennies, which is the RPG industry Oscars. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, he's now about to release, the Die team as a whole is about to release the Die RPG through Rowan Rook and Deckard. And people are just going,
oh,
okay.
Cool, yeah.
But people are like,
I'm sorry.
When's the Kickstarter launching? And how many minutes will it take to fund?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wrote a supplement splat book for Spire when it first came out.
That is such a good game. Love Spire.
Yeah, I love the setting. Like I was like so happy that they wanted me to write anything in it.
Speaking of things that people were happy to have you write.
Yes.
Let's talk about
What are
words.
Go for it.
Words. I owe so many words to so many people.
So,
some for you and some for you.
Some for you and some for you and some for you. Old Gods of Appalachia. How did that come about and how did it go?
It's still going because I haven't finished my episodes yet. I'm basically completely done with the first episode and moving on to the other ones. They had just followed me before they were even a podcast, I think. And someone mentioned that I should listen to it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to listen to that. It has old gods in the title. I don't really like Lovecraft. But then I listened to it, and it's cosmic horror that is completely not Lovecraftian at all. You know, and I think I tweeted saying that I loved it, you know, just because I like to signal boost things that I like. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's so cool. We like you too. And then like they're like, you want to write for us? And I was like, yes, you know, like that would be fun. I've always wanted to write for a narrative podcast. So it's interesting to be able to get to do it finally without me having to like make the whole podcast, you know, because I always wanted to do one like where maybe like it was like a dream. I was recording a dream journal, you know, and each episode was like the dream journal. It was creepy. But then I'm like, I don't have time to edit and make and put out a podcast currently. So it was good to be able to like just write for somebody. And they are super nice to work for, as far as like
Stephen.
They have been very understanding with me, just like, it's not done yet. I was really sad yesterday, so I didn't write anything.
So we've got.
But yeah, I love that. I love that show, and I hope the fans like, because they have pretty like serious fanatical fans. So I hope they like what I've put into the world that they love so much.
They will.
They absolutely will.
I like what I'm writing, and I think it's good. It's just like it's different than like the majority of the show. So I'm like, sometimes fans will only want the same thing over and over again. So
how much can you tell us about it? I'm guessing very little.
Probably nothing.
Very little. It's a kind of a standalone 3-episode arc that is in between season 2 and 3.
Right, Kato?
Oh, so they're going for kind of the White Vault model of here's the finite season, here's a supplementary finite story off to one side, here's the next season, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they do a lot of. They have whole seasons that are only on their Patreon. So there's like the 2 seasons that are public, but then they have like an entire like 10 or 12 episode Build Mama a Coffin season, which is full episodes that you only get to listen to if you're on their Patreon. And they have lots of little mini series that are Patreon only. So they're really good. So like this my episode will affect things in season 3 and it's tied to it, but it can be listened to. Like it kind of floats in a timeline where you could think it happened before or after the things in season 2 and 3, I think.
Chat says, I don't know anyone making a podcast who like has time to make it. Bunch of hustle maniacs over there in podcast land. And I'm like, hey.
It is. Like people think it's so much work. I think people think, oh, you just record it. They're like, no, there's so much extra work on the back end of making a podcast.
Right. I think about it, it's a 3-layer cake, right? And each layer can take all the time that you have to give it. There's the layer of writing, there's the layer of producing, and then there's the layer of like making it sound right. And it will consume every single hour you give it, she says, having been up till 2 a.m. every night this week.
The last 3 nights doing QC passes.
Doing quality assurance. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And Steve is a very good producer and stuff. So he does take all the sound engineering very seriously. So that takes a lot of time, I think. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just excited to write for him, and hopefully everyone likes it and I get to write for more podcasts in the future.
You saw some notes being taken,
yeah? Yeah,
good. Okay.
Notes are taken. We can move on. Move quickly on.
So we've got audio drama. We have prose. And I want to circle back around
writing
to
a book.
Writing a book. We'll get to that. I want to
get to it now.
Okay. Tell us about the book, Jordan.
I have been writing for a while now because it's always a great idea to sign your first book contract the month before a global pandemic hits and completely takes away all your ability to be productive.
Or the ability of the publishing industry to like print books.
Yeah, but once again, I have very understanding editors who are like, yeah, this is going to take longer than we said, but it's okay. You're writing it and it's going to come out eventually. So I'm writing a book called Hot Singles in Your Area. I was approached by a publisher, and they said, you want to do a book with us? And so since it was kind of a carte blanche kind of thing, I was like, I'm going to do a book that is like basically for my followers who have been fans like for the last 7 years with hot singles and all the weird little things I've written. So this book hopefully is going to be a braided narrative story that ties all the weird like carrion child and the huntress mother and all the little world building that I've done in like flash fiction on Twitter over the last 7 years into one kind of like mishmash of a book. It has prose sections that are a continuing narrative of 2 characters, and then there's sections that are a choose your own adventure book where it's actually like you're going to be playing a choose your own adventure, and that one seems like it's totally not about the characters, but who knows? It's about a necromancy priest going about doing necromancy priest things. And then there's also going to be bits of found ephemera that are like Xeroxed into the book, like receipts and notes and post-it notes, and and there's also a bunch of sections that are newspaper pages, like singles ads and like wanted ads, where there's going to be hot single tweets in there, but also all the other like help wanted are like all like just fictional weird shit. So I'm hoping what I'm doing is the whole book is going to be more of an experiential narrative than a straight prose middle, beginning, ending
and
plot.
like the preferred plot for every contemporary occult investigation story from like
that
now
is
on,
is genuinely
right?
one of the coolest fucking things I have ever heard of.
I hope I pull it off in the
You
way
will.
that
I have no doubt you
people
will.
like, because I am very like upfront with the fact that I want the things I write to be like well received and win awards and shit. So I'm like, I hope this is something, because it's such a weird category. I don't sure there's a lot of other books like it. Like the only thing that really come to my mind is like the City of Saints and Madmen by Jeff Vandermeer.
Yeah.
Kind of did the same thing, where it's like you're reading all these things that seem like different sections, and by the end you'll realize they're all kind of linked.
Why is that a type of story that you think prose is the way to deliver as opposed to any of the other media that you work in?
Prose is the way I'm delivering it because that's what was offered to me. You know, like
Cool.
someone said like, hey, let's do a book deal. It might be better as a movie, you know, or like an interactive video game, but I had a book deal, so I went with the book deal. No one's offered to let me write like an app game. So
Yet.
yet. But
well, that's an
and also I want to be like a published in paper writer. So
well,
like I'm doing that.
That's a conversation you and I have a lot, is that it does seem to still be kind of this unwritten rule in, even for people who have extensive, well-received portfolio careers. Can you see me staring at him? That, you know, the prose novel is like the cornerstone of that. It's like that, you know.
Yeah, and I just want to get it. I just want to do it so I can say I've done it. Like I wrote like a 4,000 word short story last year that was set like it was a person tweeting from the publisher Beehive Books, and I know that's not going to be like considered for any like awards as a short story from Right of Horror, even though I was telling a completely made up story by completely made up characters, live tweeting their experience unpacking these fake Dracula dossiers. Jordan, so like I love doing emergent narrative, but I also as a writer want to do things that are seen by like the community of writers.
Right? It's like if you have it, then
hey, Spooky Sperry. Sorry.
Nice. No, it's fine.
So
hi, Spooky.
Welcome aboard, Spooky. So I have a couple of responses to that. The first is the kind of stuff which you're doing with this book is really interesting to me, because I think you're doing it at absolutely the right time, and it might not feel like that. About a decade ago, there was a brief and very enthusiastic flirtation with what was at the time referred to as transmedia narratives. And this was kind of an offshoot of the alternate reality gaming, because the Beast, the ARG that was used to promote AI, had hit about that time. And the weird Beekeeper one that was being used to promote Halo 2 as well. And the idea behind transmedia narratives was the book is just the center, and you can interrogate it. So you get a book with a couple of receipts and a URL in it, and you type in the URL and it takes you to a website, and you look in the code and there's another URL in there, and you just go further and further down the rabbit hole. I loved these. They were really interesting and really well done.
Totally
and they cost a fucking fortune, and no one bothered with them.
Yeah.
Because this was before Twitter. Because that is officially how old I am, I have realized this week. That I was an adult for a measurable period of time before Twitter was a thing. And the willingness
Somebody had to be.
To adapt to the kind of digital ecology which we now operate in with Twitter, with Instagram, with all those other things, strikes me that now is a really good time to do that kind of emergent narrative.
Yeah, because we're starting to see it in major, or in projects that have bigger budgets, like, you know, Black Mirror did an interactive episode, and there are interactive video game movies now and stuff like that.
And also, fuck that Black Mirror episode, though, by the way, where they put forward I hate the trope of go off your meds to be creative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and they definitely did that. I'm like, no, don't go off your meds to be creative. Meds help you be creative and produce. Your illness is not the only thing that makes you creative or productive.
Right.
Good technique, horrible choice of story.
Yeah, I really hope they do more choose your own adventures, because that's super fun. And like they're trying to like pick up what the 3DO never was able to deliver.
Just as a brief sidebar to that, I know late last year the showrunners for Black Mirror were asked whether there was anything more coming, and I think that the direct quote from Charlie Brooker was something like, "Oh fucking hell, no, not right now. Everyone's miserable enough. So maybe give it a couple of years, and they may circle back around." But
they just came out with one where it's like you're trying to escape from the Undertaker, like the professional wrestler.
I haven't watched
like
that
on
yet,
Netflix,
and kind of.
I haven't either, but I'm gonna.
Yes.
Would somebody please let that poor man retire? They have let him go and brought him back. He wants to go to the grave. Apparently,
let him go.
He showed up in when they did one of their Blood Money pay-per-views a couple of weeks back in Saudi Arabia. He showed up as the hype man for Pitbull, who was also performing at a concert in country. It is exactly
just two tired old guys just trying to hustle.
It is so much. It's exactly as horrifying as you think. I've seen footage. It's just Mark Calloway standing there in his Undertaker gear, not moving, going, "And now," and glances off stage, and Vince is holding like a big cardboard check, going, "Keep talking."
I wonder if Mr. Worldwide Pitbull ever wished he'd been like Mr. Just a short bus ride from my house, like that he could only like Mr. Just in my general neighborhood.
Mr. Corner Store.
Yeah, Mr. I'm only gonna go as far as I can get within 1 day's travel.
Right.
Mr. Just popping down the shop. Do you want anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Much easier type of career.
Oh my god.
But no, I'm incredibly excited about this, and I kind of sense that you're a little kind of about it. Don't be. It'll be great.
It's more because it's taken me so long to write it. Is that I feel bad, but I have to tell myself books take years, and I don't know like what I thought I was gonna write a whole fucking book in like a year. I know people do it, but I'm not that kind of writer. It takes me time to like get into the swing of getting words out.
That's legit.
Totally worth it. So, game design.
Mr. Going to the Mailbox.
Mr. Going to the Mailbox.
Mr. Corner Store is a solid character name. Yes, agreed, Chad.
Emergent narratives. Let's talk about Carrying Into the Void.
Okay.
Because
I loved making it. I just didn't make any money, so it was the thing I had to put on hold when I got like the book thing. And it's still going. People they're still doing a great job. I just had to take a hiatus.
Could you explain to the audience what Carrying Into the Void is? Because if I
there
will be a Venn diagram with "this is one of my favorite podcasts" in the middle, and lots of underlining, and that's about it.
Oh, thank you. We didn't get a lot of feedback on it, so like it's nice to hear that people liked it.
Well, yeah.
Carrying into the Void is like basically shitty lore. If two people just had read a Wikipedia account of something or seen like a TikTok video, and then they try to retell it to each other without taking notes, and then at the very end try to like sum it up in a small poetic diatribe that hopefully makes it into like a goth-spirational moment.
Goth-spirational. So somewhere Susan Palumbo just sat upright.
Fantastic.
Because kind of like a dark scripture at the end that is for people who want to have self-care and stuff, but they hate pink and things that are like fluffy, like.
And it's currently Brock and Megan presenting the show.
Yeah, Brock and Megan is so good at it. Like, if you see Megan, anybody, tell her that she's killing it, because she had never done a podcast before, and I think she has podcast voice nailed. Like, she sounds like some people just have voices that like they aren't super interesting to listen to, no matter how good their content is. But she has a voice that's like, yeah, this is a cool, like, I'll listen to this person. They have inflection and they seem interesting and bright.
It is.
I sound like a frog, but
you do not sound like a frog.
Frogs are cool.
You said, in which case, you sound like the coolest frog.
Yeah.
It is genuinely one of my all-time favorite podcasts, because you have this perfect combination of these eloquent and funny and knowledgeable hosts, brimming with enthusiasm, just awful shit torn from the forgotten pages of history. The one about the red camel, I fucking loved the one about
Oh
the red
God,
camel.
that was such a fucked up one to read about too. I was like, what the fuck? It was a skeleton strapped to his back. Like,
Yes.
What?
So in American history, the military for a while dabbled with the idea of using camels in the American desert instead of horses. And then they realized they didn't know how to do it, and camels were very mean and fucked them up. So they just released all these camels into the wild, and they didn't all die. And so there was this whole big thing about
too?
Very nearly.
Oh my God.
yeah, there was this whole big thing about like this red devil that was like killing people. And it ended up, it was stamping them to death and stuff. And it ended up being a corpse that had been strapped to the back of a camel and kind of like grown into it, like sinewy corpse, like dried it. And so that was what was waving on its back.
Oh my
that everyone
God,
thought was
like
the devil. And it was just
horrible-
like someone getting too close to a wild camel and getting fucking killed. You know,
Like
so
those
that was like
horrible things at the car dealerships that they put that they just wave their arms.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. But it's like,
God.
but a sinewy,
Halloween,
like
everyone.
dried out like soldier that had been strapped to the back of a camel for years.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
asked.
that's
What
headline
was
content
the
warnings.
uplifting anecdote that came at the end of that one?
Oh, I'd have to look it up because I just write them in the moment. So like, I mean, it could be something like, realize that the things you are tied to are not your end. You are structure and bone. You are more than the clip clop of your daily life. Reach up, cut the straps that bind you, that seek to push you onto things that would make you, something like that.
Yeah,
was so fucking good at this. Oh my God.
yeah. You have a voice for podcasts. It's totally.
Oh my God.
It's totally fine.
It's
That's totally getting clipped, right?
it
With
is
somebody?
absolutely
Okay.
absolutely one of the things.
I chickened out at the end. I did.
That's fine. It's like you're on stage.
It's so perfectly suited for podcasting, and all three of you, and the one where you came back and you were the special guest, just
Yeah.
warmed the cockles of my heart. It really.
I want to do it again. I just like, I feel like I have all these things that I'm on like deadline for that people are going to pay me for, that I would be like a bad employee if I was like spending extra time doing this free thing.
But does it feed your soul, right? You know,
it all feeds my soul. So like, I it was like the lowest common denominator kind of thing.
Scott,
but I do still love it, and I want to do it.
Jordan, haven't
I have guest hosted on Pseudopod, and I would love to do it again.
I'm gonna go look
it was super
right
fun.
now and see if I can find the episode.
We are going to have words with people and get you on rotation.
It was the episode about like the diving in the caves.
Oh God, yeah.
Here we go. I'm loading it.
It was such a good story too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got like shivers getting to say like the final lines and stuff.
Excellent. That's what I want.
It's true.
Yeah. Everybody wants to sit in the Alasdair chair.
I think writing those intros is fun.
It is. It's a unique type of writing, isn't it? Because it's one part commentary and one part mood setting, and yeah.
And they have to be kind of witty and like have good lines, setting people up for the fact that they're about to hear good literature. Like.
And I think you are the only person we've ever had on who has managed to be even ruder about Lovecraft than me, and I absolutely salute you for that.
Yeah, I went to a convention this last year, and like I feel like I'm like banned for life. Like they didn't really ban me, but I felt like they're never going to invite me as a guest ever because I may have in the Lovecraft bar.
I remember this. I remember this happening.
Said that the only thing I want to do from Lovecraft is rob his grave, then piss in it, and then deface the gravestone so that no one will ever know where he's buried and his name will be forgotten forever. And because I'm not against people writing in the mythos. I love people who do mythos correctly. Like Primi Muhammad and Cassandra Caw.
Oh God, yes.
People like that. It's the number one, I think it should be called cosmic horror, not Lovecraftian horror.
Absolutely.
Because like, fuck him. He wrote his first short story like 10 years after The Yellow King came out. I mean, like, which is also a racist book, a racist story, but like he didn't invent this cosmic horror thing. He just had an interesting name and wrote a lot. So and also I don't think we as modern people should be like giving him a pedestal, you know?
Pretty much every shitty convention experience I've had has been
Lovecraft oriented.
wrangling Lovecraftian zealots.
Yeah. And like there's like a
Zealot
Lovecraft.
is a good way of describing it, because those are people who have the opportunity to make rational decisions about that horrible person, but intentionally do not do so.
And you can still read Lovecraft. I've read Lovecraft and I still read Lovecraft, but you dialogue with it, with the problematic natures, and you use it for what it's going to teach you about writing and about horror, but you don't put him as a person
You don't
up on a
venerate
pedestal.
Right.
And I think continuing naming things after him is a big way that keeps him venerated in the collective consciousness of literature.
I know Tananarive do. It took her. She campaigned for close to 10 years to finally get that hideous World Fantasy
fucking trophies.
statue.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but they.
Congratulations. Yeah. You won one of the best
But they
novels
still
in the
have
field.
the pins, don't they?
Here's H.P. Lovecraft's head. What?
Yeah, am I supposed to, like, is it part of the thing that we then throw this into the ocean, or like what is this like?
That would be a brilliant thing.
This strangely enough, this reminds me. I actually had.
I'm sure we're making a lot of people mad right now, but
No.
Fuck off.
Our track record with not venerating Lovecraft is well known, and I think. Do you know Shitpost Calligrapher? Or these
I love Shitpost Calligrapher.
Well,
yeah.
we had Johnny Sims on the stream when his book 13 Stories came out, and there was
it's really good.
Some delightful quote about "fuck that guy" that Shitpost put into calligraphy for us.
I have been known to refer to him as Providence, Rhode Island's premier Celine Dion impersonator, which is a joke which will only ever make me laugh, but it does. I actually had that rarest of things, a cultural interaction with Lovecraft today that was positive.
Bullshit.
Yeah, seriously. I was doing some research on Harry Houdini because when I was a stage magician, one of the last routines I did was a variation on the Houdini seance. Houdini was a famous debunker of crap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Largely because the story goes, he desperately wanted it to be true. And before he died, he gave a small group of his trusted friends a code word, which if this ever came through as a seance, was to be considered proof that he had made it. And he was talking to Lovecraft before his death about co-writing a book about spiritualist grifters.
I need to see the HBO premiere miniseries of him and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and like a buddy cop. Like,
why haven't we done that?
Spirits.
We've got like 4 remakes of Tesla versus Edison. Why don't we have
the team up of
Conan
Doyle and Houdini?
Right?
Like infiltrating cults.
There is, and I think it's out of print.
There are those 2 novels about Conan Doyle.
Yes.
There where it's all about cults and it's real and he's like an investigator. I forget the titles though.
There is a fantastic one-off graphic novel called Necronauts, which is Houdini fought Conan Doyle and Lovecraft.
I
was in it to the end.
I was gonna say, or was it Burroughs?
Oh no, it's Houdini Code. Yeah, literally in investigating supernatural crime, and it's Raiders of the Lost Ark with more tentacles.
So yeah, if you have actually seen that series that was very homoerotic, please do share it with us.
Yes, please. Yeah. Also, I discovered that Houdini actually had one of Houdini's team was the coolest human being on Earth. Rose Mackenberg was a practicing private detective who called Houdini in to consult on a fraud case, was impressed with him, and basically just went, "I'll be your chief investigator now." And she worked undisguised. She would go into small towns and infiltrate.
Nice.
What a fucking badass!
Right?
Yeah.
And she had the.
All right, fuck those 2 dudes. Make her the main character.
Right? I want her story.
She had the best aliases I've ever heard. The 2 names she worked under most commonly were Alicia Bunk.
Nice.
And Frances Raud. R-A-U-D.
Oh.
And somehow no one ever looked at this and went, her name spells fraud.
I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Is that a t-shirt yet?
No, I mean that's Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I think they might be mad at me. Which I just watched this year for the first time ever, because I have this thing that when people tell me something is like my own writing, it then goes on a list of something I'll never watch or read out of spite. Because I like to be able to go, I wouldn't know. I've never seen it. To reply guys on the internet who's like, is this just Bloodborne? It's like, nope, haven't played it. Fuck off. But I finally watched Garth Marenghi. I'm like, oh, that is me. Like 100%. When he's like going like, blood, 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 and bits of sick. I'm like, that sounds like a great beginning to a novel. That is totally something I would write in a tweet. Yes. And he has my glasses. I'm like, okay, I see why you have said this, and this is the only one that's okay.
You've spotted your long lost doppelganger, and this is the one, right? Exactly.
Unfortunately, you basically have feel surrounded. You are aware of this, yeah?
Right? Exactly.
Have what surrounded?
Horror. I mean...
Oh. I have the field surrounded. I just have to find the part where there's success in it. And money.
Well, those are two different things, aren't they?
I need them to be together.
God, wouldn't it be nice?
I have this thing called the rent.
I know.
And like every month, like you got to pay it again.
Such a scam. Food. I enjoy food too. Yes.
And food, yeah, and medicine for my brain.
One of the other things that I wanted to touch on real quick, you did some work, if I remember correctly, with Logan Dean a little while ago, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, no, not Logan Dean. I love Logan, but I've never worked for him.
Really?
I just super duper promote him.
Aha,
and
cool.
If Logan ever, I'm like IRL friends with Logan, so he knows that if he ever wants me to write something, Logan, I'll write something.
Yeah, Logan.
I want to write about a feral office that changes and moves around. That's what I want to write, Logan.
Oh, I love that. Logan is behind a game called it's the Company, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great RPG writer. He's just great. Yeah.
It's basically picture the SCP Institute, but it's a little bit closer to Viridian Dynamic from Better Off Ted. Try really hard not to die. Good luck.
Oof.
Yeah, it's all about like you work for the evil corporation, basically. Yeah. You're the sad you're the doomed people who get sent in to clean up when the thing goes wrong.
How is that different than my current job?
Probably.
It's not. Just maybe more teeth.
Probably more teeth.
Probably more teeth. Okay.
And health insurance.
On that. I'm not going to linger on that. Less mopping. That's okay. I'm fine with less mopping.
Actually, I think there's probably more mopping in the Company RPG.
How horrifying is that as a job description? Just 2 words: less mopping. That's kind of how I start out my novel, because
less mopping.
His job before. Well, it's like
it
was something about like a job with less blood to clean up would be nice. It was like the first line. Right now, it might change, but
that's a good starting line.
Because he starts out working at like as a janitor at a bus station. So.
Oh.
At least in America, bus stations are very sketchy places.
Have I never told you about my Birmingham bus station nightmare?
Oh God.
Oh no! Is it a real nightmare or?
Yeah, it happened.
What?
Birmingham bus station is one of the main transport hubs for the UK, and I ended up there because I was going on holiday with several members of my family at the time, and one of them accidentally conspired to ensure we missed the only train out of Yorkshire for 6 hours.
Oh, perfect.
Literally, it was one of those, we got to the platform and the train was rolling off. So, we go to the bus station and we spend 4 hours trundling down the country on a National Express, and we go to Birmingham bus station. And Birmingham bus station is a cave. It is a vault. It is 30 bus corrals underground in a pitch black room. And this room, at this point, this was when the Madeleine McCann case had blown up. So there was this famous missing child on holiday in Spain. So there is a "Have you seen Maddie" poster with this frightened looking little blonde girl every 3 feet.
Oh,
I am sitting on a
This is amazing.
To my left is my then brother-in-law, who is reading, I swear, he's on page 700 of a 900-page 7th volume of the complete history of the Napoleonic Wars.
Jesus fucking H.
To my right, a very small European lady comes up carrying a holdall which is twice her length. She sits down.
There's a body in that bag.
She looks at me. It gets better. She looks at me and goes, I must bathroom. You watch. And I'm like,
What?
and she gets up and goes to the bathroom.
No, I will not.
And I'm looking at this bag, waiting for it to move. And the whole time, my brother-in-law is just like, I am reading about...
They tell you not to do this. Like, it's in all the announcements. Don't watch people's bags.
About watching historical people die. That's all. And there are these posters every 3 feet. And at the exact moment where I think, well, at least this can't get any worse. And I swear this happened. We've only just begun by the Carpenters gets pushed through the tinny stereo.
Yes.
God.
Love it.
I have never laughed so maniacally than I did at that moment. I was just like, this is the worst thing that's happened
This
to
is
me
how I
in
die.
some time.
This is what I'm
Oh,
going to
boy.
think about on my way up the escalator. This is how I die. Oh my gosh.
And yeah. Just oh boy.
Wendy is sharing photos of the Birmingham bus station in chat just for all of us. Oh no.
I had like a
Kiwi,
weird one when
Blinks in New Yorker.
in my
I see nothing strange about this.
when in my early 20s, I was traveling from Laredo, Texas to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is like a 2-day Greyhound trip. And we stopped at the Greyhound somewhere in Chicago as like a layover. And I was sitting there, and there's over the speakers, they keep having like this announcement, like, the Chicago Police Department would like to encourage you not to leave the lit areas. And so I'm like, oh fuck, what's going on? And then next to me, this old guy walks up, and he's using like 2 tent poles as his like canes, and he sits down, and this is, I shit you not, I'm not making this up, because if I wrote this, it would be told that it was too weird and didn't make sense. He takes out of his backpack a small leather coffin and sets it on the seat next to him. He looks at me, like obviously showing me what he's doing, and then opens it, and inside is a small stuffed monkey. And then he reaches into his bag and takes out an orange and a bottle of water and sets it in front of the monkey and just looks at me, waiting for me to do something. And I just looked at him, I was like, nice monkey. And then I got up and moved.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I was like 21. Like, I wasn't like gonna like mind this for stories at the time, you know? Like, I wasn't like, now I'd be like, let's see how far this goes. Like, let's see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna like try to make this become even weirder, you know? Like, what's his name? What does he like to eat? You know, where does he come from? You know, I would have had a conversation with the monkey now, but like, then I was like, nice monkey.
That's brilliant.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad you didn't die in that bus station. That would have been...
Yeah. Apparently, afterwards, I looked it up. It's like the most murders in Chicago is around that bus station.
Great.
Which is why they're like, don't leave the wells of light. In the darkness, you will be devoured.
I've played that level in Mass Effect. Maybe they're not wrong, right?
Ah yes, Chicago, that well-known passive town. Oh dear.
Yeah, exactly. We have been talking almost an hour, and I want to give Jordan a chance to like not spend all of his day doing this if he doesn't want to spend. All of his day
I will
doing
talk
this.
as long as you want to. So
Well, can
like,
I show the chat?
I'll keep gabbing.
T-shirts now, and you can kind of
Yeah.
chat us through the
You
designs.
need to-
great.
you need to show your fans your new T-shirt collection.
Yay! I just have to remember which button it's on. I programmed a button with the shirts, and I just can't remember which one it
As
is.
Wendy
I'm going to
has,
say
has
they're
so,
there.
so perfectly pointed out, his name is Excuse Me, Sir. I was talking to the monkey.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. One of these buttons has the merch, and I don't remember which one it is, so please forgive me.
Just
if I
press them
them.
all. Press them all.
I could, but that would be very time consuming. So, Jordan, you're not going to be able to see this, but what I'm going to now show the chat is the shirts that we are wearing, the awesome pseudopod design. Do you want to kind of talk us through? This was your fault. I'm not going to lie. Like, I remember looking at Void merch because Alasdair loves his shirts and has a whole bunch of them. Though you don't have your favorite one yet. You can go ahead.
Is it
Dracula
Fuck
Mansion.
Mansion? Fuck Mansion.
Yes,
Dracula
it's
Fuck
Dracula.
Oh my god.
Okay, tell us about Dracula Fuck Mansion. Go ahead.
So Dracula Fuck Mansion comes from me getting low key like dunked on by a writer on Twitter. Like they were doing one of those like writer memes where it's like a picture of an old house and it's like, what's your first line for the novel based on this picture? And mine was, welcome to Dracula Fuck Mansion. and someone captured it with another writer who did a beautiful one. And like about it was the first year of the winter and our youth, it was fleeting like ice cubes in a hot drink, or something. And then it's like there's two types of writers. And I was obviously the idiot one, and then there was the pretty one, and that that blew up. It was viral, and so I'm like, anytime I'm viral, I make a T-shirt about it. So I was like,
Nice.
they're making fun of me, but I'm the one who just made a shirt about it and is making money off of mine.
Neener.
Who's going to get remembered?
Now I'm like,
better. Thank you.
I was like,
right?
is my main thing I'm going to be remembered for in literary world? Welcome to Dracula Fuck Mansion.
It's not going to be the main thing.
No.
Yeah, and also the art on that one, I think it says inside of the thing, but it was by a fan who drew a fan picture of the tweet.
I'm looking at it right now.
Because every once in a while somebody will illustrate a tweet that I've done, and so I pay them. Obviously, I paid him for his work, and then put it up as the shirt.
Yep.
That is such a good shirt.
You still want it.
I think it is funny, and I definitely plan on writing a smutty choose your own adventure book based around Welcome to Dracula Fuck Mansion.
It has to be a choose your own adventure book. There should be more choose your own adventure smut. Wow.
Except we can't call it except we need to definitely not call it choose your own adventure because that company is so litigious.
Well,
they emailed me just because I had written the words choose your own adventure in a tweet and threatened to sue me if I didn't delete the tweet. So now it's choose your own possibly exciting but maybe not event.
Choose your own spice. Okay.
Yeah, I think
that's a whole nother hour, folks. We'll have
I think pick your path is another one you can do because I think pick your path came from them being so litigious.
Well, they're not publishing those books anymore, so they just sue people and make money like patent trolls. Anyway, okay.
I think they are still publishing them.
Taller and your skin going green,
Yeah, whole nother hour. Okay, so yes, I was on Void merch because you love his shirts, and I bought you a bunch of his shirts.
Thank you.
And then you started doing all these cool like metal band name designs, but with authors. And I think that's when I DM'd you. Right after I had talked to Alex and Sean. This year is Pseudopod's 15th anniversary. And we wanted to do something to celebrate it, though we weren't sure what yet at the time. And now we've kind of overgilded the lily. But we'll talk about that after the break.
No such thing as overgilding the lily.
And I DM'd
really
you,
shiny lily.
And I'm like, I want a Pseudopod metal shirt. And you're like, I can make that happen. And here we are. Now there is an awesome Pseudopod metal shirt.
Yeah, it started out as a surprise for Pseudopod. And then I was like, I think I was like, we can have a whole collection anytime you want. You just we just have to talk about the specifics. And I can just do that.
And then the specifics happen.
Now we have a collection.
So now there is an escape pod.
And all of for everyone who likes the metal logos, those are all hand drawn by an artist called David Jordan. I just am the art director for that series.
And you have a whole bunch of them now, don't you?
Yeah, and we're gonna do more. I just need to wait for them to make some money first, because they have the budget I have for paying him and then recouping it.
Nice. And then you did a 15th anniversary one for Escape Pod, which Mer and Divya both really, really love, and which I bought as.
Oh yeah, they like it.
Yeah, I bought it as a sticker too. And I bought it in the red. You've done it in white and black, so you can put it on lots of different shirts. Mm-hmm. But I like the red design. I think it's really cool. It is very almost like...
Red's my favorite.
It's almost like Soviet retro space age stuff, which I really...
I was looking at Soviet stamps when I drew it.
Which is cool.
Soviet matchboxes, too, have a lot of good art.
I had never looked at Soviet matchboxes.
There is very little more inherently metal than Soviet cosmonaut memorials and monuments.
They're great.
Astounding.
It's pretty cool.
And I just drew that one in Illustrator.
I love it. I really love it. I like it. It feels very aesthetically smooth. I mean, it's clean and evocative, and I really
I was going for a mix between I was kind of going for I was gonna make it like a tarot card, but sci-fi, and it didn't totally come out tarot-y. Mm-hmm. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna tweak it so it doesn't look completely perfect. That both sides aren't completely mirrored.
Yeah.
But still go for NASA meets Russian. All that 70s NASA with the lines swooping and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you guys like it.
I
'Cause
totally did.
I thought that one came out really good.
I like it a lot.
As someone who inhaled the first two seasons of For All Mankind
Yes,
recently,
exactly.
you hit that one bullseye.
Yeah, no,
That
everybody
looks
I've
amazing.
seen really, really likes it.
And I was also trying to make one that would be useful going forward, not just like super anniversary, that like it could just be an escape pod shirt forever,
Exactly. And then this is the Podcastle one, and it's a little harder to see this one because it's a much more intricate design.
I'm just all the way through this. I'm just going to sound like Vin Diesel on the Pitch Black commentary. I love this scene. I also love this scene. Every single one of these designs is amazing.
So this one is just Aubrey Beardsley, because Aubrey Beardsley is in public domain, and I was trying to think of something that would say like fantasy without being like a sword guy with fighting a dragon,
And
So
it
I was
has
like,
the kind of Edward Gorey vibe to it as well, which I really, really like.
And so I cut out the words inside of the cloak so that just the shirt will show through. So depending on what shirt you buy, the lettering in the background will be a different color.
So like if you put it on a red shirt, the Podcastle letters would come through, but the rest
would be red,
of it would be black and white.
And the background will be red too.
Nice. Oh, I'm gonna
incredible.
I have to go and take a look at that one. Then, like I said, I just got all the stickers, so I'd have them.
Yeah, and that's one that like didn't work good when you invert the colors on white on black. So I just did the black one because the white on black for this detailed ended up looking very negative photo-y and confusing to parse. Like it looks cool, but it's hard to parse what it is. So I just did the black one for this one.
I like it. And then we have the Cast of Wonders one, which I really love because this is super.
Yeah, this was just like I just had the idea and just drew it.
No, I totally dig it because I got really involved with Cast of Wonders when we were designing their logo when we redid the websites a couple of years ago because it had never had a proper logo before, and we'd always kind of used the comedy and tragedy mask stuff because one of the problems with a YA show is YA is a marketing category or a readership group. It's not necessarily a genre, or at least it wasn't at the time.
Yeah, I had a hard time. That's the one I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? This is such a nebulous concept, But what is YA visually?
Right, but I really love that you've picked up on the microphone element of it because what we did with the Cast of Wonders logo is we just put headphones on the comedy and tragedy mask.
It works so well.
Which wound up working really well. I'm actually very fond of that design.
So I really just kind of shot for cast, like they're back there doing a play almost.
Well, that's what's funny about it because Cast of Wonders always talks about itself as being backstage. So it's set dressing as curtains, and it talks about being like a stage performance because that's the branching narrative, the overarching metaphor that they use to talk about their performance.
So you picking up on the other shows refer to them as curtains.
Yeah, their nickname is curtains, and they talk about being in the green room all the time and stuff. And so you picking up on that and using like literally the like puppet mastery type stuff was really cool. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, and when I'm designing a T-shirt, I'm also a lot of times like I see people go too literal. And so you have to. I try to think of something that's going to work good as a logo image as well as being indicative of the thing. Like you could have just done like curtains, but that would have been like just kind of like curtains.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I really like about your designs, I mean, I think that the Podcastle one, if I had put it on a different background to show the chat, that would have worked better. Is that they're very flexible and that they aim to be kind of evocative but simplistic in such a way that they can, if nobody knows what this is and looks at this at a distance, they're just going to go, I don't know a metal band named Pseudopod, but I can tell they're a metal band. And then it gives the kind of like that insider, it's a podcast kind of joke, which I dig. It's kind of insider without being hipster.
Yeah, I think when you design logo, like at least T-shirt logos, they need to be like visible from a distance, and also think about the bodies that are going to be inside the shirt. You're not just designing a poster; you're designing something that's going to be put across like human flesh. That's going to be different sizes and shapes.
And let's talk about this. The fact that the logo was across my chest and not across my tits is really nice. I actually really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Jordan.
It's something I think about. I definitely think about tits when I design.
And Threadless
my
actually
shirts.
does V-necks as well, which is really hard to find. Like Redbubble does not do V-necks, I don't think, which is a pain in the butt for people like me who, don't like necessarily really tight necklines. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Threadless, you can put your design on basically all the merch that they have once you upload it. It doesn't work on everything, so I turn some things off, but for the most part, you can get the same thing. Like you can get that on a duvet if you want to have
shower
a
curtains
pseudopod duvet cover
get,
on your bed.
You could get
shower
like
curtains.
a pseudopod shower curtain, which I find hilarious.
But also like mugs and pens and notebooks, all the things that are a little more accessible than people. I have had people buy the duvet covers and the shower curtains, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
See, I'm all about
I wouldn't pay that much for a shower curtain.
Stickers. I love to be able
the stickers
to,
are nice. Yeah.
Show over time, like these are all the things I've supported and stuff, and like having our own stickers.
Oh yeah, the art of the what stickers do you choose for your laptop?
Yes.
Is the thing.
Right.
Exactly.
I have mine right here.
Let's see it. Let's do it.
I'm gonna have to get some escape artist stickers now that they exist.
I will send you some.
Too.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can get them from the store.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pedro Lane.
Oh.
No fun.
Yeah.
This guy is a British comics artist, Decadence Comics.
I don't know them.
They're super cool. They do like this kind of like more thin line Mobius style sci-fi comics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this notebook's about full. I was like, I should put them on so I can hold them up for the stream. I'm like, but I want them to be on a nice...
You want them on the new book?
I want them on a nice black background, and I'm out of black background because I've supported too many publications.
And the cheat for all the kids at home is when you have a sticker that you were worried about getting messed up, just put packing tape over it.
Oh, nice.
And it's like a clear protective layer.
We used to do that with school books. We were told to cover them in wallpaper.
Yeah, we in the United States. In the United States, we covered them with brown paper bags. Yeah.
Yep. Or leftover wrapping paper if you were fancy. But most of us cut up when
wallpaper is cooler though because it's thick
and it's
like
textured
sturdy.
And shit.
Yeah.
And
that's a much cooler thing to cover.
I never
it
had
with.
access to wallpaper when I was a kid though.
It was like
me neither.
Every time you took your workbooks out, it was a little bit like you had a really disappointing present. Like, oh, what's in here? Algebra. Oh.
Well, with the brown paper bags, it just gives you a canvas to write things. So
exactly.
It
And then you do all the crap over them. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you get in trouble for having swears.
Or you draw that stupid S that everybody knows how to draw.
I was too old to draw the Sketcher S. Like that wasn't a thing when I was like in school.
Okay. Most of the time in school was in my like hairband phase. So there are a lot of Motley Crue album covers on my old math books.
Yeah.
I love how just for a second I was like, but you still wear hairbands.
Oh, bless. Yes.
The Ocean in Motion. I love those plastic textbook covers. I've bought them from Japan just for my books because I'm a nerd.
Nice.
And I love like that kind of industrial library feel. I love those.
Oh, I'm jealous because then you could put stickers on them and then probably peel them back off again.
Yeah, because I buy like you can buy that weird Mylar covering that libraries put on books. You can buy those and just put it on your own books if you want like that aesthetic.
Okay, that is not an aesthetic I appreciate, but I'm glad that it exists and you have found it. And that
the last time you made that face, it was when someone mentioned plastic wrapped sofas near you.
No.
Plastic wrapped sofas, yeah, no. It's interesting. Like it gives you a good vibe, like in a story or a TV show, but you don't want to actually experience it yourself.
No.
Because you stick to them.
Yeah, right.
I use my butt simultaneously hot, adhered to this, and I think
and wet at the same time.
And wet at the same time, right? It's just like, oh, it's nasty.
Because you're smothering it. You're smothering. It's like you put plastic wrap over your butt when you sit on a couch like that, and not in a fun way.
And on that note,
do you want your butt to be dextered? Because this is how you get your butt to be dextered.
This is how you get your butt dextered, people.
Okay, that's totally going on a t-shirt. It's not my fault. I'm really, really sorry.
But are all grandmas possible serial killers then because of the dextered couches?
The most successful, never detected serial killer.
Is there a grandma serial killer
in the history
like
of the universe? Is frickin' Angela Lansbury
Jessica Fletcher
in Murder, She Wrote. It's Jessica Fletcher. Jessica Fletcher is absolutely...
Oh, she's the one killing everybody? Yeah. She's always there.
She has to be. She just has to be. She's the
my.
only common denominator.
Just gaslighting everybody.
I know. She's
How
brilliant.
unfortunate. My agent fell into a wood chipper. And some acid.
And somehow I get younger and younger. It's almost like something's feeding me.
Right?
Oh, my hip isn't bothering me at all now.
Something singing from the basement? No, there's nothing there.
Someone did the math. And...
That's not where we keep the mother.
No, dear, I just make vinegar. Honest, right?
We must feed the mother.
Oh.
Someone did the math, and apparently Cabot Cove had more homicides per year than any American city.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I have to find that math.
Along similar lines, there's an infamous detective show over here called Midsummer Murders, which is set in a sleepy little village where something like 300 residents have been killed in increasingly bizarre ways. And it actually got so ludicrous. I think I read somewhere that one of the episodes is that actually has a moment where one of the cops is like, Sarge, yeah. A lot of people get killed here, don't they, Sarge? Yeah, son, they do. And just drive off, and it's never
It's
addressed.
a lovely non-sequitur.
Nice.
I freaking love it.
What's creepy is that the Cabot Cove Cemetery is very small and hasn't been expanded ever.
I'm sensing
Where do
vaults.
the bodies go?
I'm sensing vaults or local pie shop.
I'm sensing something that is being fed beneath the pie shop.
Okay, so now the two of you have to collaborate.
Yes, this is fine.
Just go
we
write
can do
it.
this.
We'll do it for next year's Halloween.
Yes.
OMG. Jordan, this has been delightful. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you very much for
thanks for
designing
inviting
us
me.
amazing t-shirts.
I hope all your fans like them.
Yes.
Oh, they will.
I hope I'm going to push the right button again. There we go. There's the link in the chat, everybody. Help yourself. There are stickers and t-shirts and all sorts of stuff. Jordan, you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, that link goes directly to the main page, so you're going to have to click on collections and then click on the collections of EA Podcast X Void merch.
But the nice thing about Threadless is that you can throw stuff in your cart from any shop. So, if you need a Dracula fuck mansion while you're at it, or one of those delightful, bury them in the grave they dug for you things, you can get it all at once. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm like a weird writer who has written quotable quotes without having a book.
But that would be a great book.
Like, has people quoting my writing, but I don't have, like, what's that from? Just something that they wrote, divorced from anything else.
But the book is coming, and it will be amazing when it arrives.
I just have one-liners in my head all the time. I just need to make the one-liners fit into something bigger.
You are not alone. Which is a really roundabout way of saying that at some point a novel chapter will finish with the dialogue. Because fuck 'em.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good line to actually to end on. Exactly. Folks, we are gonna take a little break right now and say goodnight to Jordan, and then when we come back, well, it's not. I hope it's going to be light and relaxing and something different. And we are going to play a little game and talk to you about why we are playing that little game.
And it'll be great.
And we'll check in with the boy and show you his Halloween costume. And we will be back in a little bit.
Here comes the boy.
Here comes the boy. Yeah, exactly. So
has the boy always had that many teeth? He smiles so beautifully, though. Oh, the boy. Oh, has there always been this many boys? So many boys.
Oh, they get all baked up, All these extra boys become very, 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 very tasty.
Oh wait, is the boy your loaf of bread?
No. Oh my god, have you never met Chungus?
Oh my god.
I never met Chungus.
Oh my
I've
god.
seen Chungus on a stream, but I've never been introduced personally.
This is
to
Chungus.
Oh, hi, Chungus.
Yes, this is the
What's
boy
that?
whose Halloween costume is not fitting very well. So.
Chungus hungers? What? I think.
Yes,
Chungus
definitely
Just wait.
hungers. He needs to be fed. He's actually kind of boobly still. He's.
Yeah, he was very excited
I
last
bought
night.
him a cute hat and it won't fit. Wendy is inferior. I apologize.
Oh no.
Fine.
Capture this now. Quickly.
Instead.
Clip it.
Clip.
I'm going to wear Chungus's hat instead. Exactly. Because it will not stay on Chungus.
Chungus is such a good boy.
It is. Chungus is a very good boy. Did you see what, we have so much Chungus merch, it's freaking ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Look.
Like every good parent, you have to monetize your child.
Well, yeah, we have wonderful, a whole wonderful community of people who crochet.
Who have a crest.
They like have a heraldic crest and like send
That's when you know you made it.
costumes and I have stickers. Did I have a Chungus crest sticker?
I don't think you do.
I think I have one in my bag. Hold on.
Well, I am honored to have officially met Chungus now.
See?
Nice.
They have their own heraldic crest. I love it. It's a worshipful company of yeast coutures. Yes, exactly. So yes, we'll show you some more of the boy when we get back from the break because poor Jordan needs to go now. All right, we'll talk to you in a few minutes.
I'm gonna play this game, whatever this game is.
Get up, get a stretch, check if you need to feed anybody or take any medications or get a drink of water or if you need a snack. Snacks are good. And we will be right back.
Bye.
Okay. everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back. Everything is working on the volume things. People can hear us.
Immense thanks to Jordan. That was just a delight.
He's such a good dude to just hang out and
Yeah,
chat
he's
with.
a nice guy, you know.
And it's nice to have a conversation with somebody who, like you, does freaking everything and doesn't like having to pick between them because they're all your precious project babies.
Laughs in 6,000 words of role-playing games right before the end of the week.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not Thursday for another 22 minutes. You got time. It's all good. And yes, I think I remember the right button now. It's that one. That's the main Void Merch shirt link, but...
And they are so good.
They're
oh my
really
God.
fun. I need to get myself one of those Escape Pod ones, especially. I need to get all of them. I just got the stickers so that we would have them, and we knew Jordan was coming on, so we wanted to make sure we had the Pseudopod ones in advance. But I'm going to have to get all of them.
Also, we do look fabulous.
We do look really good. They are very cute shirts. I like the baseball style jersey thing going on, and I like that it's up here and not too low. It makes me very, very happy.
And, you know, we coordinate.
You do, and everybody likes your hat. Are you very happy with your hat now?
I look fancy.
You
I'm a
do.
fancy lad.
Fancy lad! Yes, exactly. Oh my God, folks, we have so much stuff to talk about.
It's been a very busy week, and I'm aware it's Wednesday.
Has it been a busy week, John? Yes, exactly. Go for it.
So I'm basically closed out for Pseudopod for the end of the year. In fact, I am. I don't have any more Pseudopod to write for the end of the year. I just have to record
a lot
of it.
Yes.
I then need to double back and do the same thing for Escape Pod, and then I don't really have to think about doing podcast stuff before January, which is
nice.
Really cool.
Yeah.
The other big thing I have on at the moment is After the War, the RPG I co-created with Jason Peter, which also had a raft of other really fucking cool folks on it. We're putting together the last supplement for it, which is going to be basically a telephone directory called Songful Survivors. And I'm doing 10,000 assorted words throughout that. So the last couple of days have been... And Jason's a really good guy to work for, because Jason will go, here is what I want from you. Here's how many words I need you to do that for. So I've just been chopping this stuff up and turning it in. So yesterday was throwing some new aliens and alien races into the mix. And also adding androids, because one of the things Jason is doing for this book is enabling conversion across to a bunch of other really successful indie RPGs, one of which is an excellent game called Mothership. And the one issue we had with Mothership was one of the character classes there is androids. We didn't have androids.
You got jealous.
We now have androids.
You no longer have android jealousy.
They are all the People's Republic of Professor Annie Murray. It's one personality accidentally spread across 1 million robotic bodies.
Okay, so like Legion, but an asshole.
No, actually, she's kind of lovely. Actually,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I have I designed those. I designed a race who have cannibalistic genetic memory, whose name translates as ghost carriers into standard, but that's a little freaky. So they're just referred to as the Archived. And the Bloom.
The Archived?
The Archived.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Johnny, you'll get a kick out of that, I'm sure.
And the Bloom. And the Bloom are a binary life form, where one half is basically a solar-powered flower, 3 kilometers wide. The other half is 60 to 75,000 pollen, which are mutable creatures. They're essentially drones.
It's like a hive, yeah.
Yeah, which will land on a planet, take on the form of a dominant-looking life form, and blend in and record, and then go back to the central Bloom, which is fine. The only thing that people are a little worried about is there's a reasonable chance one of the other alien races was just pollen that's forgotten it was pollen. And yeah.
Okay. You're having fun, I can
having
tell.
a lot of fun with this.
Exactly. What else did we do this week?
This week we are preparing to launch our first ever full cast audio drama called The Witching Hour.
Da, da, da.
This has been the last 5 months of around 50 people's lives.
It's not that big.
Like 30?
Oh, I haven't counted, but it's a big project that a lot of people have been involved with. It is our first original. Is that sentient alien sex pollen? Oh boy.
I've read that book. I haven't written it.
Exactly. I have a question about Witching Hour. Is midnight Sunday, October 31st, the midnight between Saturday and Sunday, or between Sunday and Monday? That is the midnight between Saturday and Sunday. So if you wake up first thing in the morning on Halloween Sunday, there will be a podcast, an original audio drama, waiting for you. There are lots of people in it that you will recognize, including...
Hello.
And Imogen Harris.
Yes.
As well as Scott, who's with us in the chat tonight, and other folks.
And who did such a fucking good job. My God.
Yes, it's going. Yes, yummy horror words for breakfast. Absolutely. It will drop on all 4 EA podcasts on Saturday night / Sunday morning of Halloween.
And we have learned so much doing this.
It's been a really fun project. We'll probably talk a heck of a lot more about it once it's actually out into the world. So that's gone. The merch we just launched. Yay, merch! Yay! I've been trying to do this for years. It's so fantastic to partner with Jordan and someone who understands the business side of things and can let me just kind of focus on the I need this to exist side of things, which has been great. And then we'll talk about guests and what's coming up next week after.
But first, we need to talk about the very special Halloween we have planned for you.
Yes. So, this evening, we're going to play a little bit of a shenanigan. I don't know if it's a little or not. I've never played this before. I don't know how long it'll take, but it was written by Zalia.
Woo-woo!
Our own chat mod, Zalia, who also on Halloween has her own audio drama release coming out.
Which sounds fucking great. Zalia, could you just drop a brief description?
Yes, by all means. Zalia has written
and a link.
An adventure for 6 to Start, the creators of Zombies Run, which is coming out on Halloween, which I'm really looking forward to, which sounds fantastically good. I'm just a dummy.
Jordan, you are nothing of the sort.
You're not mistakenly allowed to have access to Adobe Suite. I know how much that shit costs. You pay for it. Exactly. And then, of course, on Friday, the full lid will come out, which is a Halloween edition, which is chock full of audio drama horror crossovers and spooky content and all sorts of fun stuff.
I actually locked the content earlier today, so I can tell you what's in there.
Give us hints. Tantalizing hints. And do it in a sexy voice like Jordan did.
Tantalizing hints. Very well. Beneath the London of 1987, something stirs. Something which can only be stopped by 5 intrepid children, as weighed down by their own damage as by the pressures put upon them. Elsewhere in the same issue.
Pause.
The history of magic and science unfolds in graphical form, including the heroes and villains of over 150 years of parapsychology, whilst elsewhere, 3 increasingly desperate and, in fairness, endearingly rubbish students deal with the zombie apocalypse the way anyone in the 21st century would, by making a blog.
Fuck you. That's a superpower. Now read Zalia's.
Whiteout. Do you want me to do the? I'll do the voice.
You do the sexy voice. That's fine.
Whiteout is a short horror audio drama. It has sledge dogs and shades of The Thing and the Dianea House. It will be out tomorrow morning sometime as soon as I push the content live.
Nice. Fantastic. That sounds really
Zalia,
good.
Firstly, that sounds fucking great. Secondly, if you are having to launch your own content, I do hope there is some form of celebration being planned. This is cake. This is breakfast cake.
How are we celebrating the launch of this, Zalia? I'm scared and stimulated. Thank you, Scott.
Job done. Where is
Jordan,
it?
that
Where
might
is
be
it?
another shirt.
Where is it? Where's the microphone?
Here. It's right there.
Scott. Hey, Scott.
That's why we bought an inflatable one, so we wouldn't actually drop real microphones. Oh, yes. And Zalia, please do share the link as soon as you can, including with us, so we can get it in the full lit for Friday. That would be fantastic. Breakfast. It's kind of my job to launch all the content. I don't care. It's your content. You need to celebrate the fact that it's being launched. Do you want me to send you cake? I will send you cake.
At the very least, you should loudly hum the Thunderbirds theme tune, culminating in the moment where you get
Not
launched.
everybody is you. Okay. Funny side story. There is a brand new little cafe. Shut up.
1 hour, 3/4 before we get to the first one of these. A new record.
Just
You may
let it
continue.
happen. It's the end of the month. There's a new little bakery cafe across the street from us that is in the same building as a new little independent cinema. And there's an elevator that goes from the ground floor up to the cinema, which is a couple floors. And it's one of these freaky little teeny tiny ones where you have to hold the button down the whole time. And you're not in like a box. It's a platform on a scissor lift hidden in the wall. And you are inside this like white styrofoam tube going up. And you can see the like door 3 stories up there as you're like desperately holding down the button so it doesn't crash, or at least it would in your brain. And he loves it and I hate it, and I'll just take the stairs.
And the acoustics in there are really good, as I found out.
Oh, you should do a little video for...
I was trying to work out some variant. Martin, I found the coolest lift in the world.
We'll have to write something, because it would probably be about the right length for a TikTok, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Of course it would. Fucking hell, of course it would. So that's what's going on right now. And then we might as well tell them about next week while we're at it. And then we'll play a little bit of a game. Or maybe we won't. Who knows? It's almost midnight. Ah!
Earlier in the year, some of you may remember, we had my dear friend Brendan Connolly on. Brendan is incredible. He's like Jordan in that he is this endless fount of creativity who just throws himself headlong at projects. And we played this fantastic, really short, interactive mystery with Brandon on the chat, where we solved a mystery in real time using Twitter and the chat.
You should.
And Brandon has now produced a project called The Ticking World, which is an adventure calendar. It is an advent calendar that is also a game book. And what you see and the story that unfolds depends on the choices you make day by day. We will be discussing this with him next week. I believe we'll be playing something with him as well. And I haven't told you this yet, but one of the things I was considering was through December doing regular check-ins as we use the adventure calendar and play through the Ticking World and let people know the version of the story we have.
That sounds really cool.
Doesn't it?
As long as I still also get my cheesy little Yankee Candle votive.
You're going to get as many...
I'm sorry. There's one time of year when I'm so American, and that is when Yankee Candle will let me have a vote of a day, and they smell pretty, and I burn them, and then they go away. And then he gets chocolates. We have one of those advent calendars, which is like 25 different little bags, and I just preload them with all the really good truffles. That's what he gets. I get my candles. So as long as I can still have my candles. See, Jordan? Why won't they send me candles? It's not fair. I would have paid for them. Anyway, okay. All right. So what does that bring us up to? Friday? And then on Sunday... So Sunday is Halloween itself. So Sunday, first thing in the morning, Saturday night, witching hour will launch. And then I will fall asleep and sleep for a solid 12 hours. Then the next morning... We're not going to do our normal 10 a.m. to noon casual gaming stream because we're going to play the Darker Pictures anthology new entry called House of Ashes.
For those of you who aren't familiar with these games, Darker Pictures is a yearly horror adventure game series, which is essentially Pseudopod, except the host is a little better dressed.
He's the embodiment of Elias, including his ridiculous waistcoat and tight pants.
And he presents this story to you, and then you play through it as the characters, and your choices alter what happens.
It's an anthology video game series where there are supposed to be common elements between the games, though haven't really seen those common elements come out so much. We played with Hannah and Alex last year.
Where Alex spent 6 hours heroically trying to break the game and kill everybody.
Yes, and then the year before that... Did we stream it?
We did not, because that was in the before times when we didn't stream.
In the long, long ago. But the other thing that's really fun about these games is that they have what's called couch co-op. So people all together on the same system. You can play up to 5 people couch co-op. But you can only play 2-player online multiplayer, which is why, unfortunately, we are not going to be streaming this with the Meredith brothers, who are also playing it, because they are in 2 different physical locations and we are in 1 physical location, and we couldn't make it work.
But we are going to be playing it right after them.
But we are going to play it right after them. So the Merediths are going to stream from 4 to 7 on Sunday playing House of Ashes, and then at 7 o'clock we're going to start playing House of Ashes. So if you have the fortitude and nothing else to do on Halloween evening, you can see how two very different groups of gamers play the same game.
I have to also mention the same company produced a really good and very short kind of police corruption thriller called Hidden Agenda.
Oh, Hidden Agenda was really good.
A few years prior to that. And this was the one where they really kind of started to zero in on the mechanics which powered darker pictures. Because that was the one where playing with two people didn't work.
It didn't work real well.
Because the decision is who has control of the characters is based on in between turns. You get asked who is the most lawful, who is the bravest, who is the most intelligent, all these kind of, and then you vote on this. There are two of us. You can already work out what happened.
I think you won. I think there was one where we...
Most heart.
Or most trusting?
It was most trusting.
Let's say it was most trusting. And to be fair, it wasn't just that time because we played... No, it wasn't just the two of us. Remember, Kat came over. There were the three of us and you still...
And I still fucking came in last.
That was so funny. And in the previous year, we played another one of their games... couch co-op, so there was like 5 of us passing around the controller. They're very fun, and this game is set during the Iraq War.
Yes, this is without giving you any spoilers in case you want to watch playthroughs of the previous two, or if you want to play them yourselves. Mm-hmm. Man of Medan, the first one, is a really impressive ghost ship story, and it plays with what that term means. Little Hope, the second one, is a small town mystery. Mm. With an ensemble cast, and both of them make very specific narrative choices. House of Ash, the third one, which is, as near as we can tell, a group of American special forces and a couple of Iraqi soldiers have to work together against just teeth, is very much a monster movie in the way the other two are not.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. Jordan, no, I have not played Disco Elysium or Elysium, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
And we keep nearly doing it.
I think we own it.
We do not. I actually had the Disco Elysium Ultimate Super Duper Director's Cut penciled in as a possible Christmas present for you.
Oh, well, okay, there we go. That sounds good. Then again,
just in case you don't get the Dragon Age remaster.
Come on, BioWare, do me a solid. Announce the complete 4K PS5 remaster of the Dragon Age series for me so that I can spend 300 hours over Christmas break doing nothing but eating mince pies in my armchair.
And then mourn for a week and just skip straight across to Mass Effect.
I know. That would be really good, though. It would be really good. Listen, it's almost midnight, and I'm getting a little concerned that if we start to play a game now, we're going to shortchange it. And I don't want to shortchange it, because this is Zolia's game. I mean, I'll show you. It's really pretty. Hang on a second. I'll be right back. That's the wrong button, Marguerite. Hold on. There we go. That's the right button. See? It looks lovely. It's an It's a text navigated game, and I really want to play it, but I don't want to play it quickly late at night and not give it the proper due. So Zolly, if you're okay with it, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold off on it and we will save it for another week because we've been having a lovely chat.
We have. Also, just further to the Darker Pictures conversation, Kiwi is absolutely right. The end of Darker Pictures 2 is absolute ableist bullshit.
Thank you, Zolia. Yeah.
And thank you, Zolia.
There are some content warnings for that, so please go to ESRB or any of the other sites that you might utilize to check into them. Oh, what's this? Play the fancy edition because it has so much more voice acting. Okay, fine. So get the fancy edition.
I will.
Make the fancy edition go.
Make it go. Make it lovely.
Make it lovely. Yes, exactly. It has puzzles, and I know nearly midnight is not the best time for puzzles. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we probably need to have like fresh minds and a bunch of time to devote to it. And we just had too much stuff to talk about today.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been a busy week.
It's been a busy week, John.
Very much been a busy week, and it's going to be a really full week. I mean, it's horror podcaster.
Hello.
Halloween. You know, it's horror Christmas. It's one of those big times. And then after that,
Jordan,
No, you did not devour all
nothing
the
to
minds. It
apologize
is
for.
the inexorable passage of linear time, and it sucks, and I want to have a word with its manager. Or somebody can just give me a time tuner, and then I'll shut up, okay? That would be fair.
So this is how it all ends, is it? Pond flirting with pond.
You love that
I'm
line.
fine with that.
Yes, of course you're fine with that. My past midnight puzzle. Why did I come to the kitchen, and which light should I turn off first? Yeah, totally valid, Kiwi.
Suggested answer, toast.
Toast. That's why
And
he goes to the kitchen in the middle of the night. Toast. Exactly.
Speaking of, do you want toast?
We might have some toast after this.
Okay.
I think we have the last of the last chungoid left, which would be primo toast, which sounds good.
High-end gourmand toast.
Yes. Well, if you need something else to
Distressed
do for the
bread.
rest of the evening, I mean, retail therapy exists. Please do help yourself to swag. There will be some more designs that get added over the coming months. We've got a couple more that weren't quite ready for launch, and a couple more that are being noodled, and a couple more that may get created every week, given how many one-liners we throw around. Who knows?
But I'm so happy that we've done this. I'm so happy that you've championed this along and that Jordan's working with us on this, because it's the perfect combination of skills in that Jordan is incredibly talented, and you've got incredible project management talent, and one of my favorite people is now producing shirts for the company we love. So
yeah. Sounds brilliant. It's all good around. And it's up in time for the end of year annual gift giving festivals as well, which makes me happy. But first, Horror Christmas. Gotta do Horror Christmas first.
a new Concerned Ape game in development with Ghost and Chocolate.
What is Concerned Ape?
Kiwi, if you could, when you
I don't know what Concerned Ape is. It sounds cute. We have so many games we need to play now. We received games as gifts, and I'm like, I can't play that. I might stream it now. So that's maybe not just the greatest of mentalities. I should probably play things for relaxation.
Stardew Valley.
I know Stardew Valley is supposed to be cute, but the new Animal Crossing stuff is going to be out in 3 weeks, and that's going to be really... Oh, so the guy who made Stardew Valley also made Concerned Ape. Okay, that sounds cool.
Concerned Ape is the studio, so...
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, so a new Life Devourer
Jordan,
game.
now may be a very bad time to point out the 2 Animal Crossing massive DLCs that are on the way.
You can finally build columns and counters
Thanks,
and hang things from the ceiling, and it's basically, it gives you a whole job where your job is to design houses for hundreds of other residents on other islands. So all that thing that you did that you loved, that everybody was resetting their island so that they could do again over and over again, you now get to do that for lots of other people. And I'm like, yeah.
I think John Lewis have just opened their Animal Crossing store. Some major clothing brand has.
What? I wouldn't be at all surprised. I'm sure. I have paused my Animal Crossing island at the perfect murder cult era. I went to your island. I remember. There's a death trap maze you have to navigate to get into there. I love it. It was brilliant.
Also, the same knife block in every room.
Just, you can never have too many knives. Let's be honest. Have we got anything else to talk about tonight?
We've covered Full Lid. We've covered Sunday. We've covered the new merch.
Guest next week.
We've covered the guest next week.
Witching
We've
Hour.
covered Witching Hour. I think that's about everything.
That sounds...
And you were right. That took us 20 minutes.
Right? That's why I'm kind of we'll save the game so that it can be special as opposed to the thing that we try to cram in at the end. That's no fun. I mean, I guess we could come up with a dad joke or something, but I think us prattling on at you for 20 minutes is probably enough relaxation. I mean, it's been a pretty relaxing stream altogether, I'm not going to lie. For all that we've been talking about, all that horror stuff. I think it's been pretty good.
It has.
All right.
So with that in mind, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Jordan, for being on the show. You were
Thank you
fantastic.
very much for coming by, Jordan.
We will see you on Friday for the Full Lid for horror, and then for the Horror Christmas special. And then we'll see you on Sunday at 7 p.m., not the usual 10 through 12, when we descend into the House of Ash.
Where we might
probably die a lot.
See, now I'm I was going to watch Ben and Tim's stream for a little bit, but I'm but now I'm going to spoil it myself if I do it. I guess I'll... You know what I'll do? I have this great recipe I want to try. One of my favorite bakers, I think it's a Smitten Kitchen recipe, has made a pumpkin cream pie. So instead of a banana cream pie or a coconut cream pie, it is a pumpkin cream pie. And I am totally going to make that and eat that.
And I will help.
Yes, you will also help. And that will be good because I can't have candy corn. So I'm going to have to make a pumpkin pie. Candy. All right. I've been Marguerite.
I've been Alasdair.
And this has been fun.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in a little bit.